1 out of every 153 American workers is an Amazon employee. Seriously, just let that staggeringly massive statistic sink in for a second. We are talking about a scale of human employment that's almost difficult to even comprehend. And honestly, it perfectly sets the stage for the absolute titan of a company we're examining today. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going on a fast-paced, chronological journey right through the heart of the world's biggest online retailer. We're going to look at the key strategies, the massive pivots, and the foundational business lessons that took a tiny, scrappy startup and transformed it into a global powerhouse that has fundamentally changed how the world shops, watches, and lives. Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand this giant, we've got to travel back to July 1994. Jeff Bezos relocated from New York City all the way to Bellevue, Washington. And why? Well, to tap into the deep pool of technical talent coming out of places like Microsoft and the University of Washington. He founded the company in his converted garage, for symbolic reasons, of course, and by July 1995, the website launched to the public. Less than 2 years later, in May 1997, the company went public. Talk about moving fast. Now, here's something you might not know. The company wasn't actually always called Amazon. It was originally incorporated as Cadabra Inc. Even more fascinating, Bezos was considering several names and actually went ahead and bought the URL relentless.com. And get this, to this day, decades later, if you type relentless.com into your browser, it still redirects you straight to Amazon's homepage. It's a very fitting remnant of the company's core philosophy. So, this brings us to our very first core business lesson, and it's an absolutely crucial one for any entrepreneur. Master a highly specific niche before expanding. You see, in those early days, Amazon did not sell everything. They started strictly as an online bookstore. By sourcing books directly from wholesalers and publishers, they were able to prove that their digital e-commerce model actually worked. They minimized overhead while completely perfecting their logistics and their customer interface. Let's move forward and see how this builds in the late 90s. Once that book model was proven, the expansion was fierce. In 1998, they began international operations, moving into the UK and Germany, and they started selling music and videos. By 1999, they were adding video games, consumer electronics, software, and toys to their digital shelves. The blueprint was established, and those product lines were multiplying like wildfire. This aggressive diversification strategy is exactly what earned Amazon its legendary moniker, the Everything Store. It was a pivotal strategic pivot. They transitioned from being the internet's premier bookstore to becoming a sprawling online marketplace where a consumer could find, well, essentially anything they could ever possibly need. Which leads us straight to business lesson 2, rattle any market you can and rapidly diversify. Amazon developed this fierce reputation as an industry disruptor. They didn't just sit back and hoard their profits, they aggressively reinvested them into capital expenditures and relentless technological innovation. Basically, if there was a retail sector they could enter and optimize, they went for it, forcing entire industries to adapt to their rapid pace. But, as they were totally disrupting physical retail, something else was happening behind the scenes. We're pivoting chronologically to the early 2000s, to what is arguably Amazon's quietest yet most profitable revolution. In 2002, Amazon Web Services, or AWS, was launched. They rolled out the SQS beta in 2004, and by 2006, they had made Amazon S3 and EC2 available to the broader public. So how on earth did an online bookstore become a pioneer in cloud computing? Well, it basically happened in 3 rapid steps. First, Amazon built massive internal server capacity just to handle their own website functionality and order fulfillment. Second, they opened these exact tools up to small and medium-sized businesses and independent developers. Third, by being first to market with this scalable infrastructure, they grew to utterly dominate global cloud computing. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how remarkably understated this 2006 press release quote actually is. It sounds incredibly dry and technical, right? But this specific announcement was a total watershed moment. It essentially birthed the massive global cloud infrastructure that so much of the modern internet relies on today. And the takeaway here is our third business lesson: monetize your internal infrastructure. Amazon recognized that the immense computing power and logistical solutions they had to invent just to keep their own store running was actually a highly valuable product itself. The lesson? If you solve a massive logistical problem for yourself, there's a very good chance the rest of the world will pay you to use that exact same solution. Marching forward into the 2010s and 2020s, Amazon's ambitions expanded right out of the digital cloud, back into the physical world, and directly into our living rooms. In 2017, they made a massive splash by acquiring Whole Foods. In 2021, they officially surpassed Walmart as the world's largest retailer outside of China. And in 2022, they boldly acquired Hollywood titan MGM Studios to drastically bolster their entertainment division. And this brilliantly illustrates the engine driving a lot of this growth. It all comes down to a single staggering number, 200 million. That was the total number of Amazon Prime subscribers worldwide as of 2021. This paid subscription plan guarantees customer loyalty, it subsidizes shipping costs, and it serves as the ultimate gateway drug into Amazon's wider universe of video, music, and grocery delivery. Today, Amazon is a true conglomerate. Just look at the sheer diversity of their modern subsidiaries. You've got Whole Foods and physical groceries, which was a $13.4 billion acquisition. You have Twitch, completely dominating global live streaming and gaming chat. And then there's Zoox, their self-driving car division, which actually expects to start charging passengers for robotaxi rides in Las Vegas by early 2026. I mean, from your dinner plate to your morning commute, they are everywhere. Which brings us to business lesson 4, create an inescapable ecosystem via subscriptions and synergy. By locking customers into the Prime ecosystem and constantly adding more and more value, whether that's free shipping, streaming movies, or discounts at Whole Foods, Amazon fulfills almost every digital and physical consumer need. It becomes psychologically and financially easier to just stay within the Amazon ecosystem than to ever try and leave it. Bringing us right up to the modern day, the scale is just breathtaking. As of 2024, they are the second largest company in the world and in the United States by revenue. They're pushing aggressively forward into cutting-edge AI and robotics, with that highly anticipated 2026 Zoox robotaxi launch right on the horizon. So, the crucial point is captured perfectly in their 2025 financials. They reported a monumental $716.9 billion in revenue. That resulted in $79.98 billion in operating income and $77.67 billion in pure net income. The strategy of relentless reinvestment that started in a tiny Bellevue garage has yielded one of the most profitable financial engines in human history. But check this out. Here's a very surprising data point from the source material. Despite Amazon being the 12th most visited website in the entire world, a massive 84% of its traffic still comes strictly from the United States. So even with its vast global reach, in the UK, Germany, the Middle East, and beyond, the core American market remains the absolute beating heart of their digital retail traffic. Now, any comprehensive explainer must look at the full picture. Our resource material notes that Amazon has been subject to severe criticism and scrutiny across multiple fronts. These controversies include concerns over surveillance partnerships, reports of poor working conditions and anti-union efforts, environmental degradation, and allegations of anti-competitive behavior regarding their treatment of small businesses and suppliers. And that provides our fifth and final lesson. Massive scale brings massive scrutiny. When you become the second largest private employer in the United States, with over 1.5 million employees, your business practices cease to be just corporate matters. They become matters of immense public, governmental, and ethical importance. Navigating that complex reality is the heavy burden of being an industry titan. From a Seattle garage to a nearly $1 trillion revenue machine shaping cloud computing, retail, and entertainment, Amazon literally wrote the modern playbook on disruption, expansion, and ecosystem building. But it leaves us with one incredibly provocative question to close out this explainer. As Amazon continues to reshape the global economy, who, if anyone, can disrupt the ultimate disruptor? Thanks for watching and keep asking questions.